Happy Monday morning to all. Welcome again, and you are still tuned in at Bears and Bulls, your official coverage of the Philippine Stock Exchange. This morning we have a special guest, a very good-looking guest from Frontrow.
Oh yeah.
Say good morning, or would you like to greet our viewers, Nesty?
Okay, good morning to everyone who's watching right now.
By the way, this is Mr. Nesty Ortiz from Frontrow. Frontrow is a multi-level company that just been open recently.
I just been open recently. It's like a little than 4 months ago. We opened last May 8th, just this year, 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us about your company.
Okay, Frontrow is like really I consider very amazing company right now, because in 4 months' time I haven't seen this much growth in a certain company, most especially that this company is being organized and being managed by young people. Like, do I look young? But anyway, this company is actually owned by Mr. R.S. Francisco and Mr. Sam Versosa. Okay, Mr. R.S. Francisco is a colleague, an old colleague of mine, way back from college. Then at the same time, we both worked in advertising. And particularly, R.S. Francisco really focused on to directing. He's like more of the talent coach of every commercials that you get to see on Philippine television right now. So he's been doing it for like over a decade. And then at the same time, Mr. Sam Versosa is like, one of the most talented young businessmen I've met, in which we all came from one org in UP Diliman. We are, yeah.
Quite interesting. Yes, you mentioned these are a group of young entrepreneurs, right?
Yes,
and young
yes.
investors.
Yes.
Mr. R.S., was he the one who did the butterfly?
Yes, Madame Butterfly.
Madame Butterfly on stage.
Yes.
Right?
And that was somehow on the early 90s, where theater was really on its peak before. Yeah.
Wow, now he has his own company.
Yes, yes.
And this Mr. Versola, Sam Versola?
Sam Versosa.
How old is he?
He just turned 26.
Wow,
just this year.
26,
yes.
and already a multi-millionaire, I heard.
Yes, yes.
Oh, tell us about Sam Versosa, because one time when I met you, you mentioned about how he started to do this business with you guys.
Okay, just to make a brief information about Mr. Sam Versosa, because I myself I got really surprised of the turnabouts, because I've seen Sam as a student, because I'm ahead of him back in school in UP. Then I never get to expect and realize that he became that rich in a span of 5 years. This is the case. He's a civil engineer student, and until the time he graduated, he took the board, and eventually, very luckily, to end up like number 2 on the board for civil engineering during his time. But the thing there, what made him really different and stood out was, normally, all new graduates, they prefer working immediately for a company, right? But Sam stood out because he's a guy who doesn't believe on that fact that you have to work for someone and get paid in a standard form. He believed in business so much, in which it was a surprise of where he was getting those kind of thoughts. So when he was introduced to this kind of business, he really tried his best. As soon as he finished school, this is what he tried doing. In fact, of course, on business, you don't really just do business without doing something. Of course, you should need to start up with something, right? But during that time, he was just a plain student. His savings, if I'm not mistaken, he was telling me that from his daily allowance till he finished school, I think he was only able to save 4,000 pesos. But when he was starting this, he needed more. I remember he was telling me, proudly telling me, he once approached his dad to help him out to start with this. But his dad was the typical father who has high hopes for newly graduate son, especially coming from UP, who can penetrate big businesses and make it big there. But ironically, Sam has a different point of view. Dad, I want to do business more than working for a company. can you help me with this? So he mentioned this kind of business, and he got disappointed with the father's advice not to do anything.
Not to venture into
Yes,
this.
into something, because it's very young. He doesn't know anything yet, but just continue being a young professional. But he did not believe. He didn't stop there. He pursued. I think I remember to complete the whole thing, he asked help from colleagues, from classmates, newly graduate themselves, and then, true enough,
So
in 3 months' time, he was driving his own BMW.
wow, Nessie. So are we talking about Frontrow?
Not yet. It's before Frontrow. It's what I rather not mention the company before.
Okay.
But it was a multi-level company. It was which I was able to join him also along with RS. But it was very new to us. For the three of us were very new to that kind of business. That's why from advertising, it was so easy for me to shift on this, because I've seen the growth of people.
Yeah. So from that company, then later on, he moved his friends or just himself to join Frontrow?
Actually, it wasn't, to be realistic, he started himself first, with himself, and when the people around him seen the growth, financially, the rewards that he was getting, and that was the time it was easy for him to invite and influence a lot of people who would want to earn extra, more than what they do normally on their respective work.
So when did Frontrow was born then?
Okay, as far as I remember, because when Frontrow was being planned, I wasn't here in the Philippines, because I was based in Jakarta and I'm an expat there as a professor. Okay, I haven't seen actually Sam and RS for quite a while, in years, maybe in 2 to 3 years. Then eventually, when I went back last March just to attend my daughter's graduation, by accident we met up. And that was the time they were forming it, they were starting it, and then I just came for a visit. And then true enough, I was asking, what is this all about? Nes, we are doing the same thing like what we did 5 years ago, but this time, Sam and I own it. How come you did not tell me? How come you did not even inform me? And RS was telling, where were you all this time? If I knew that you were somewhere, I could have asked you. Then true enough, I didn't ask any further questions anymore, because I know how it goes. And since they've been friends for so long, so I have the trust with them. Because in business, as far as I'm concerned, trust is a #1 factor, right?
So the first people who started Frontrow is basically RS and Sam.
And with a very small group, like a group of 12, 15 people.
Are these 12, 15 also invested money into this company?
Actually, not really just invested money. They just bought all the products that we are introducing initially. Then eventually, by buying our products and enjoying them, and that's the time you will also enjoy the benefit of starting a small business, or what we call the micro business.
So they just started marketing these products,
Yes.
and then suddenly people bought them, and then you
Yes.
got more money for the company.
Okay.
So are these people, aside from Mr. RS?
Yes, RS.
Raymond
Francisco.
Francisco, right? For short, RS in the stage show business.
Yes.
He's known for that. And Mr. Sam Versosa, this young investor and
Yes.
entrepreneur, they're the first two. And then these people, young entrepreneurs or young marketing people, came, bought all the products, and then they sold it, and a lot of people bought it. And from that...
And not just like bought it, because I think why the people doesn't stop coming is they simply enjoy our products more than the business. But eventually, if you enjoy the products, and then of course, even if your pocket is already enjoying, the more catch that we are getting from people.